Hosted by Young Ty. Co-host Robert Go. You're listening to the Voices of the Underground podcast.
Ty, how you doing, man? How are you doing? Let's skip the formalities. How are you doing besides rocking an awesome hat?
Working a lot.
Dude, you've been working like crazy. This guy's telling me like 12-hour shifts. I'm like, man, I don't even know what that would look like.
What exactly do you do, Ty?
Well, before we get into that, Roy, how's it going, man? Welcome back to the show.
Well, I'm happy to be here, guys.
Yeah, Roy, we love it, man. We love it. But yeah, Tyler, tell us about what you're doing for work. Because Roy, we're going to get right into you in a minute.
Automotive, just all the interior designs.
Oh, wow. That's super cool.
I'm trying to quit, so let's get this DJ thing going. Come on.
I'll tell you what, though. I am excited. I just like the idea, and as we kind of kick off this show, of American producers, DJs, right? And obviously the European guys are legends. And here we're kind of like trying to step it up a little bit and grow it here in America. I mean, it's big. It's got the festivals. We've already entailed that, but getting like underground guys to the forefront in America, I think is phenomenal. And Roy, you are really on your way to do this. Let's talk about it a little bit. What you been up to, man?
You know, okay, that there's a couple things I want to say on that note is like, you know, I feel like right now is another special time amongst the community, amongst like the scene itself, because you have genres that have been underground for so long are becoming mainstream. You have that big room techno. You have people listening to hard techno. I just went to a local rave last night where it was nothing but like hard techno and people were loving it. Like the scene, the crowd, the culture is becoming so diverse and accepting of different genres, subgenres, and subgenres to those subgenres. You know what I mean? So there's like so many niche markets and styles that you can do these days.
There's never been a better time to be creative. You know, like we talked about this before, like everything had to kind of fit in a box in a genre. And I'm not sure exactly where this kind of shift has taken place. But yeah, you can really, like you said, hard techno. Are you kidding me? You couldn't play that in America
like
2 years ago.
If you would have asked me when I started this journey if I would be ever experimenting with hard techno sounds, style basses, different genres that weren't necessarily mainstream or popular, I would have told you like, you're crazy. I will never make that kind of stuff. That's not me. But it's weird because it's like all started to grow on me like that. And that's kind of like the thing I've started to adopt, I think, as of lately, is like my music. What makes my artist project so unique and special to me is like I'm not just this one style, one trick pony producer. Like I can do an electro house song, a progressive house song. I can do a stamp style song. I can do like all these different genres, and there's all these different avenues and basically areas that I can shape and form my sound to fit. And it's like really kind of interesting for me because it's giving a fresh kind of unique kind of, it makes the process more fun for me in creating songs these days, which is like ultimately, I think I posted like an IG reel the other day, and I literally like was like, I don't know, I was at a pizza parlor with my training buddies, and I literally heard a Morgan Wallen song come on. I was like, this is fucking sick. Like,
yeah. And yes, to answer your question on IG, because you asked it, you should finish it.
Yes.
You should finish it. You should finish it.
Spoiler alert, I already finished it. You know what's funny is that little clip was about 5 or 10 minutes of work, and I was like kind of just like feeling it, and like one of those those random, like, you're feeling it, you record it, you're all, this is fucking sick in the moment, like, and then I literally got hit up by like the most engagement I think I've ever had in terms of like doing something. Like, I was getting hit up by friends that don't support. I was getting friends or that I thought didn't support. I was getting messages, reactions, and I was like, okay, there's like something. I even had my closest friends text me going, can you send me that remix? And that literally has never happened. Like, they've always been like, yeah, sure, send me your song, dude. Like, but it was like literally like I've kind of always have had to been like, yeah, I got to release today, or I have to like I have to like prep it up to tell them about it. And like this was like, no, they wanted to hear it. Like, they're like, hey, can I hear this? And I finished it in probably less than 24 hours.
Nice, dude. That's how you know you have a heater of an idea.
It's cool, dude. I'll send it to you guys outside of the podcast. It's I don't know what I'm gonna do with it, if it'll be an official release. Like, I would like to somehow sneak it over to Morgan Wallen and like see what happens. I don't know how that would possibly happen, but like, it's pretty cool.
Well, we always talk about, like, even if you don't put it out as an official release with a label or whatnot or a remix, that you should just still put it out anyways. Put as much music out as possible.
Absolutely, and that's not necessarily the problem. I kind of would like to, and this is kind of a thought. I have a very huge heart for, like, I'm not the biggest country fan, if I'm going to be honest. Like, I didn't grow up on country. I actually grew up hating country. But, like, I think in my later years, I've started to, like, enjoy it a lot more and be more accepting of the genre. And so, like, I actually would like to take, like, this would be the first of, like, I don't know, maybe like a short mixtape, and put them all together, like a 7-track remix EP kind of thing, and then put it out as like uh barn barnhouse edition, or like barnhouse mixtape, you know what I mean, like Backroads edition.
Yeah, dude, you're the fucking remix slayer. Let's
Thanks, man.
walk this. Well, let's walk this back a little bit. Since we last met you, since we last spoke to you, you had a remix, a big time remix that dropped. I think at that time when we filmed, I wasn't sure if you were able to announce it then.
Right.
Then
Yes.
you had another big remix competition you won in no particular order, but you were listed on the top. I did notice that. And you've had some big DJ support. Let's talk about these remixes, competitions that you're slaying. How are you doing it? Because dude, every fucking slap happy to clown DJ is entering these competitions, and you're coming out on top. What are you doing? What's the secret sauce? What are you sharing with us?
It's the water. It's everything in the water. If you saw Space Jam, Michael Jordan had that secret sauce, and I got my hands on it. But no, it's really, like, I hate to say it, there is no secret to it. It's just like, it's so cliche to say, but I feel like this is a perfect example of like opportunity meets readiness, which we call luck, and I feel like I've been working so hard. I mean, I've been producing now for like 12, 13 years. I've been doing music since I was 9 years old. I'm 32. And I feel like this is just like a culmination of a lot of hard work and years I've put not only behind the computer, but like invested my life and time into. That's the result of this. The Dylan Francis remix, I think I was telling you guys, like, I was about to do the Reveal Discord first ever sample flip competition, which ended up getting released amongst like 4 or 5 other talented fellow Revealed artists. And I was like preparing for that like religiously, so much that like they just announced the once again Dylan Francis remix contest, and I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna fucking, I really didn't like it's so weird. I thought I would have a good chance of winning. I didn't think it would actually happen. Like, so I made the remix in a span of like 3 to 5 days, start to finish, finalization. I finished it. I took a step back. I listened to it and I go, fuck, this is pretty damn special. Like, there was a lot of things that like were being incorporated. The fact that it was like a Psy style track at 126 BPM that had like these big rooms, saw A&G, old school revealed style synths in them. It was like, and then it had the typical old school kind of revealed breakdown. It was just so cool to see that kind of birthed or like come to life, you know what I mean? And so that was the start of that. And essentially what ended up happening was like, you know, I submitted it, didn't look twice at it, kept moving on with all my music, had releases in between there. And then I found out I won in like July. And that was just like, what the like, it's fucking shit and bricks, dude.
Dude, I'd go bananas, Ty. You kidding me? Fuck, man. So let me get this straight. Now you're a multi-millionaire. You're driving Lambos,
Yes.
And you got a mansion.
I'm taking private jets around town, and no, I'm still on my grind. I'm trying to play shows. I'm working on playing more gigs and finding opportunities for myself. I'm still on my grind.
Well, you've grown so much, right? I think that's really the thing. Everybody thinks like the overnight success guys or the Martin Garrix who just, made a song at 17 and then boom. I don't think the overnight success was like 10 years in the making.
Yes.
Right? That's
oh my
the
God.
answer.
Thank you
right?
for saying that.
It is like the 10 years in the making. You might have just heard about me yesterday, but my shit's been grinding for 10, 12 years in your case. I think that's the answer, right? Like, how'd you win these things? Hard work over a course of a number of years.
Exactly. And that was just the start of it, it released in December. And I kind of throw that into the 2023 catalog, even though it was at the last couple days of 2022, I marked that as the start of 2023 for me. And so initially that happened. The same thing kind of happened with the Danix remix contest. Luckily, with that one, you had to be part of the Fonk Recordings Discord server. So I felt like there wasn't a whole lot of exposure to it, but I heard it, and again, same kind of thing. I heard like an idea. I wanted to be creative with it. Finished that within less than a week, like 4 to 7 days.
Man, I got to get that timeline going, man. I'm barely getting pen to paper in a week. It's you know what I mean, but no, that's a banger because I think you've talked about getting on Fonk for a while, and wanting to do that. I think you touched on that last time you were here, man.
So, Fonk has been one of those labels for me. Like, Danix has been a huge inspiration in my music for the longest time. I have literally been trying to be on Fonk recordings since the inception of it, since the first release, the first 100 releases, and to like, I think, and the same thing goes with Dada Life's label, Crash and Smile, to like, that was a huge goal of mine since that started being released. And to like, I think this year, start seeing my name on these big labels as main releases is like, it's so crazy to me. It's like, it's such a good feeling.
It's well deserved.
Such a good feeling. Yeah, thank you. But like, it's not even like I feel like I deserve it. Like, of course, like deep down, I know like I deserve to do this, and I put in the work to do this. But like, it's just a sense of accomplishment that I had a dream, I had goals, I worked my ass off to get there, I saw them through, and I achieved those things. It might not have been in the order or the exact way, timeline, kind of that I expected or wanted, but like it's happening right now, and I think that's what like the full circle peace moment feels like, you know?
Yeah. No, for sure. Let me ask you. This is a question for both of you guys.
Okay.
Do you ever? I was doing this the other day. I've been taking like crazy road trips for my son's baseball, right? And I got to tell you something. I've been running up the streams on my tunes. I've been running the fucking streams up on my songs. Do you guys ever sit there and like drive in the
Just
car
have it on
listening to your own
repeat.
songs? I mean, like, right? And well, not even just that, but like just you're kind of cycling through your catalog, right? And you're just like, damn, I can't believe I did that shit.
No, yeah, I have plenty of times. I just had it on repeat and just listened to it. And there's things that I hear that I'm like, oh, I should have did differently, and there's things I'm like, damn, I can't believe I did that. So yeah, back to what you said.
Right, like that's fucking nuts. Like I created this idea for nothing. Now, the ghost producers of the world, they don't,
They
the
don't
guys
get
on
that
Ghost, they
feeling.
don't get to feel that. They don't get that feeling. They don't get that feeling.
They don't get
But
that sweet, savory, successful feeling.
no. And exactly. So like and I was looking through this catalog, and the second part of it was like, dude, I just made a half a penny right now. Let's keep going. You know what I mean? No, but like Roy, do you have that? Do you like go through these songs and are like some more special than others when you're listening to these tracks?
Absolutely. There's like, and even more so, like so most people don't realize this is that I've been producing for like 12, 13 years, whatever the time is. I kind of lost track at this point. I've only been releasing for the past 5 years, I think, if I really go back to it. And like the real start of it was my community release demo of the week on Revealed. That was kind of the start of everything, where like I was proud of it. I was like, I think I had maybe 1 or 2 small label releases before there. But that one specifically was like something I was so proud of. And then to follow it up, next was like the Armada Eclipse release, Phoenix Paul's label. And then I had some releases in between because I felt like in that time period, like I had such a pressure to deliver, and I kind of under delivered at that point. I felt like, so there's some releases after that I'm not so quite proud of. But then I like took a step back and I was like, no, this is because I started having that feeling of like not being proud of my music, that I told myself, okay, even if we only have 3 or 4 releases for a year, I'm gonna stand behind every song. And to do that, you have to like kind of A&R your own shit. Like you have to be so hypercritical of it. Not a perfectionist per se, but like you have to be brutally honest. Like, if for example, if I want to only be, and this is also another thing that I started doing, I only want to be on major labels. I only want to be on the A-list labels from now on.
Well, I think you kind of earn that right. You know what I mean? Like it, because here's the thing. I see it. Ty, come on now. We see dudes who I think they're in our friends group or former friends group, or I don't know how many fucking groups
A
we've had on
lot.
Instagram. But like they're only gonna release on this label, and I'm like, who's you, man? You
Yeah.
haven't you had like one like underground release. You're not going from you're not going from the bedroom to the big leagues over like, so you've got that like progression, right? The bricks in the road progression. To where I think you've earned that right to be like, look, I'm going to hold myself to a higher standard. I've done this long enough.
Thank you. I agree. And along with that, it's like it also got to the point to where this is what I started asking myself. If I want to be on nothing but the A-list labels and they're all denying what I believe to be a good demo, I have to ask myself, is the song really that good? And that was like kind of the aha moment. And I even tell people this, like with people I work with, it's much easier when it's kind of just myself working on a song. But like if I get hit up for a collaboration from now on, I tell people, and I've been doing this for a minute, I can't guarantee a release. I can't guarantee that this will see the light of the day. What I do tell people is like, hey, if you really want to release this song and it's not getting picked up by like who we think should pick it up or the labels that I want to pick it up, then you have my permission to take the track, everything I did, release it yourself.
That shouldn't be the only reason people want to collab with you is to get on the big labels and all. They should want to collab with you because they want to actually make a song with you.
Well, no, 100%. And I'm also, like I said, I'm A&Ring my own stuff. So like there's a lot of things that are going into it versus like before, back in the day, it was you just had to have a good song. Now it's like, okay, does this guy have any kind of releases? Because I hate to say it, like labels do look at that shit. Like they do unfortunately look at that shit. And like I'm not big enough, even from the work that I've done, to almost carry that kind of quote unquote clout to earn a solo release on some of these labels. It depends who you're asking, I guess, you know. I think I got a lot of momentum and things going for me to where I could argue that point. But as of right now, if you're to like say Roy Orion versus, I don't know, let's say just some big name, Tiesto, you know, it's pretty fucking obvious who's the bigger guy, you know,
Roy
Tiesto.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's Royal Ryan and a fan, and that's what I heard. That's what I heard.
Rumor has it.
Speaking of fans, I got a question. Again, this is like an open ended for both of you guys. You ever get any hate on your tunes? Like, has anyone ever like DM'd you and be like, "What the fuck, man"? You know, or just some smart ass shit? Do you guys ever like see that now? Now, Roy, you're getting way more engagement now. But with that comes some of the hate, right? Because people punch up, they don't punch down, they punch up. Do you see that? Have you gotten any of that?
You know what? I want to say, I'm sure there has. Maybe I just don't focus on that and like at all. But like, you know what? I think because I'm not saying I'm the best person, but like I'm a pretty good person, like in and outside of music, you know, that like I feel like people understand that, those that fuck with me and fuck with my music, like they understand who I am as a person. And so I feel like because of my good nature, like that, I don't really get a whole lot of hate. I don't know. But like, that's just for right now.
You know what you guys do? You know what would be a good time? We get a drinking game going, right? You go through all these discords. Oh yeah. Yeah. You go through all these discords and then fucking search your name. And
oh wow.
I remember,
you know what?
I don't remember if it was Ollie James. Fuck. I don't quote me, or maybe it was Kevin. I remember talking to
rumors now.
No, it's not a rumor. And I remember talking to one of them, and they were like, "Yeah, I just type in my name," or maybe it was Sebastian Mateo. I think it was Sebastian Mateo, and he was like, "Yeah, I'll just type in my name and see what's going on." And yeah, sometimes it's pretty crazy the hate that you'll get, and people don't, you know, they don't know you're in that Discord. Oh yeah, no, it's a fun fucking game. I've tried it. It's not bad.
Oh my god, I've never. So how do I do this? Do I go to Discord? I pull up Discord.
Yeah, you start going Discord. I'm telling you, take notes.
Maybe I'll do this like after the podcast because like I definitely. So there is one guy that I'm thinking of in particular that I had problems with, and that I just completely, the relationship went from like good standing to like completely down south. I'm pretty sure this guy hates me for like at this point. But like honestly, I had to cut ties. I will not say his name. But essentially this guy was so bitter about a record that I released that it did well, that he went to the label and tried saying that I stole from him. And
that's gonna happen.
And it was copyright. And I knew this was gonna happen. Honestly, like I had this gut feeling. So like I made mental note of like every interaction from like the time this was all going down. Like, and I literally, as soon as that email came through and the label asked me, I laid it out from start to finish factually. no opinion, factually of what happened, how the interactions went down, what led me to not work with this person, how the agreement and arrangement we came to, and how I moved forward from there. And literally the kid just kind of he was so like unprofessional in the emails that I think he kind of just dug his own grave. But like the label, I'm pretty sure on their end they just fucking laughed. Like, I don't know.
Well, I imagine that happens like quite a bit. I remember hearing stories and like, oh, I helped on that collab. I need to be like listed as a, or I sent you that cashmere fucking crash and that cashmere exhaust. I need credits on this track. Like,
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Honestly, I tell people like, and I don't know if this is right or not, but like I don't. I'm very precautious on who I accept help from, because the friends and close circle of producers and people that I do trust within music are not like that. And I'm very cautious of like who I'm like, all right, like what's your angle? You know what I mean? Like some people play a let's be real. At the end of the day, everyone, no matter how nice they are, has an angle. Even myself. Like everyone does. Everyone does. It's a matter of like, I think, making it beneficial for everyone. You know what I mean? It's like, but not in like a I get mine, you get yours kind of thing, like this kind of evil conniving way. It's more like, hey dude, like let's help each other. Like I think we can really come together and like do something good. And I have no problem. Like I'll be the first to offer my help. Like, hey, if you need help with like this or that, like I'm more than happy to do so. You don't have to put my name on it. Like, I like helping people.
Ty, have you ever had a situation? I mean, aside from you and I talking shit to each other on a collab. No, but have you ever had a situation where like you started a collab and it's good, and then the other guy either is non-responsive or they want to push it, and you're like, dude, I'm just not feeling like that. For me, is like has been like I think that would be the most awkward thing I've ever experienced, is to how to tell like, hey man, I see what you did on the track, kind of sucks. I'm good. Have you gone through that, Ty?
Yeah, you waste so much time working on the collab, and in my instance and all that, the guy just stopped. He ghosted me for like 6 months. I was messaging him and all that, trying to,
So
hey,
tight.
yeah,
So
here's my
tight.
portion of it. You want to keep working on it, and just ghosted me. I'm like, fuck, man, I wasted so many hours on this track.
It's just kind of the nature of the game, dude.
Yeah, you just keep going.
You just keep going. Exactly. Like I've had so many. I mean, there's vocals. I have Deandra Faye vocals. I have Nino Lucarelli vocals that like are just not going to see the light of day. Like, and that's just the name of the game. Like, and I've paid for those vocals. I even have I won't say the name, a $2,000 vocal that is a good artist that's not going to see the light of the day.
That's a pretty penny for sitting on the old desktop.
I know it's a great vocal, but the deal behind it is so like kind of not great.
So how much for the family and friends discount for me?
It's just better that we don't dive into that.
Yeah, no, it's tough though. Yeah, no, it's tough because I remember we were talking to a buddy of ours and he had sent a track in. I think we all had liked it too. And they were like, no, the vocal isn't good. So he went back, he changed it. Like, and this guy works with custom vocals. So we're not talking about some splice shit. And they're just like, nah, vocals can be really tricky when you buy them because you have like an idea for them. But if it doesn't land, it's like, damn, this is just gonna sit on my desktop.
You always try to see if a vocalist can do a demo. And you always want to be sure before you ask them what they're capable of, what's their catalog. Like just recently, so I just got hit up by probably an A-list vocalist for the first time ever. And I literally didn't have any ideas to send him. And I was like, hey, let's write something. I paid half up front. He sent me a demo. Fucking goosebumps. goosebump moment. And I was like, yes, let's finish it. And so like then you kind of come to the terms and stuff. So it's like, I don't know, there's so many ways to go about it, but I always go for see if they're willing to do like a free demo, you know, like even if it costs like $50 or something, like it's worth it because like $50 compared to 1,000 or 700 is so easy to eat. You know what I mean? At least you know.
See, Ty loves to talk about tips and tricks with artists that come on, and this fucking block Ty has been like, careful who you work with, get demos on the vocal. I mean, this whole section is tips and tricks here, Tyler.
Yeah, I'm not going to ask it.
You gotta love it, right? Like because like I give him a hard time about it all the time. Like
this is literally just my experience, you know, like I've literally had to go through all of these things, fail, and learn the hard lesson to like be able to tell you guys this.
But it's really good though, right? Like it's really good, Ty, that, you know, because we always kind of say like, hey, what can people extract from this show, right? Like if somebody were listening to the show for the first time, what's the takeaway going to be? Boom, they have several right there because those are really good, right? Like those are good life experiences that maybe younger guys haven't gone through yet.
Right. And I pray they don't.
Yeah, learn. We go through the bullshit so you don't have to. That's
Yes,
the slogan
exactly.
of the show.
I'm the guinea pig, so you don't get the needle poked in you.
Well, sometimes you have to, man, to build character.
Yeah,
100%.
man. If I had a nickel, man, I would lead the league in character.
I like what you just said, Ty, because like honestly, if I didn't go through those things, I wouldn't be the artist or producer that I am today. Like I feel like I have a certain base level of confidence that comes from all that stuff, knowing that like I survived those moments and experiences in music, like not like in life, you know, but like in music, and I'm still here doing it. If that makes sense.
That means you were meant to be here.
I think so.
Well,
I think so.
It's interesting because I see. I think another thing too that what happens with guys is or gals, right? Is they get locked into a studio, and I think what happens is it's so easy to lose yourself in that studio and kind of in that bubble. And when you have interest outside of music, things that are not related to music, I feel like that then helps your music. And where I'm going with this is you and your training, right? I know we touched on it a little bit, but you've really accelerated that. I think you put a post recently, right? It's been a couple years since you started doing that. Would you say that's exponentially helped your music career doing things outside of it?
Wait, before the people ask at home, Jiu-Jitsu.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I was
yes. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. It is an art. It is a form of martial art and grappling. It's actually the first passion I really ever had. I started it just before I started producing, and I took like a long break of like 5 years. So most people don't know this. So like I started at right when I got out of high school. I was in college at Cal Poly, and I started training at a local gym in San Luis Obispo called Paragon. And it was actually the first time I ever got brought to a jiu-jitsu class. I was 17. I was in high school. There was a local Santa Maria school called Paragon as well. And my dad took me. My dad was like, hey, I signed us up for some MMA classes or Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu classes. Do you want to go with me? And so like I went with him and I loved it. It didn't quite take root to my life at that age, but it was like the seed was planted at that moment. I realized looking back at it. And the cool part was it was something me and my dad did, you know. It was something that me and him shared in my young adult life together again, like and we're not just it was like because my dad was always my coach in like sports and growing up. This was something we were doing together, and it felt really cool and was such a bonding experience that when I got to college and started training on my own, like it was not so new. I always knew I wanted to train it, and it just like completely took over my life. Like I was in love with it. And then fast forward, I trained for about 6 years, up until like 5-6 years, up until about I turned the age of 23, 20. I want to say 24. And then I took a period of like 4 or 5 years off. And in that time, I got into partying. I got into alcohol addiction, drug addiction, and my life really kind of spiraled out of control. Luckily, my music wasn't affected. So like it was funny. My music was on this rise while my life was on this rise right here. And so like the quality of life that I was living, it was just so miserable that like that's what led me to end up getting sober and clean eventually. And then like it took like a couple years, and one day I was so like out of shape and just sick of the bullshit. I was like, I'm going back to training. Like I don't think I had a car at the time, and I told my brother, I was like, drop me off at the gym. Well, how are you gonna get home? I was like, I don't give a fuck. Like I need to go train. And there's just something telling me to go train. And I showed up at, I'll never forget this. I showed up at my gym's door, and my instructor came, who was a really good friend of mine since I was like 19. And he was like, Roy, is that you? Like, he was just so shocked. And like me and him had this relationship where he was like, you know, I thought I was always going to be heckled for the things that I had done since. And the first thing he did was he got out of the car and he gave me a hug. And he was like, it's good to see you, dude. It's like, I think I'm ready to start training again. And that was like literally 2 years ago from that post you saw.
Yeah. Yes. That's because I was going to ask you, like, what was the time frame? Let me ask you something. When kind of walking it back a little bit, when you talk about addiction and things like that, what was your rock bottom moment? Like, what did you have a point? Like, I know you kind of just identify when you got back into the gym, but what was the moment where you're like, look, man, I got to do something different here?
You know, I feel like the rock bottom signs and moments were happening little by little around my life, but the real defining one, I think, was like that my friends and family started to give up on me. And it wasn't that they didn't love me, that they didn't want to help me. It was that like they couldn't bear witness to what I was doing to myself, and that I was such a harm to myself that like it's like when you're in such a like destructive point in your life that like literally people cannot get around you, because then their life becomes destructive as well. It's that intense. Like that's the best way I can explain it. And so like I hate to say it, but it's only something you can pull yourself out of. And it got to the point, and like I talked with my friends openly about it, and like my friends were always the guys were always going to be there and support me, but their girlfriends didn't know me. Like my close group of friends' girlfriends didn't quite know me like they knew me. And so they were like, why are you still friends with this kid? Why? It's not even so much that, it's more like, why? Like they wanted a future, the path that they had set for their lives. It was like, he can't be around if he's going to be like that. And that was like a very, my friends and family are everything to me. And that was so hurtful, yet what I needed, because I luckily had enough wherewithal and mental capacity at that point that like I was able to realize the damage I was doing to myself, the damage I was doing to others, and like how literally it was like my relationship with my family, like I was fighting with my parents nonstop. My relationship with my brother was 0 to none, no self-respect. Like those are just like little bits of the gravity of how bad it was for me. And it got to the point like I I'll say this because I think it captures just how bad it was. Like I remember, and this is back when I was smoking cigarettes. I was out back having a cigarette at my parents' house, and this is kind of like one of those rock bottom moments. And I'm talking with my mom, and I can barely finish sentences or formulate sentences, hold a conversation at this point. Like that's how fried I am. And I look at my mom. I go, Mom, do you think I'm a little fried? Like, and she didn't say yes or no. She just said, well, it's kind of just who you are. And like that for me was so like gut wrenching and like hard to hear that like that was kind of the start of wanting to be better. Like, and so what I did was I told my whole family from like my parents to both of my grandparents on my parents' sides that I have a drug addiction. I have an alcohol problem. This is what's going on. This is how long it's been going on. I can't do this myself anymore. I can't help myself. I need help. And I checked myself into rehab, I think like a week later, and I haven't looked back since.
Yeah, you're on an upward swing, and and I I can appreciate you sharing your story, and I think one of the things that's fascinating with you, and there's a few other artists who do this, but you're really good at it. You share a lot of this stuff on Instagram, right? Like, so when I look at like your social media presence, it's not like, hey, new music coming soon. Of course, as artists, we're always like pushing things like that.
Right. We have to do
like,
the shameless self-promotion, right?
yeah, we're gonna put it out there. But like there is a lot of like I know you recently did a tribute to your father, and I know we were gonna talk about that. But you're very open with what's going on in your life. And I feel like as an artist, it just makes you a lot more personable.
Yeah, I think there's a certain level of like organicness, It's not so much that I do it for the likes, the social media status, the presence. It's kind of like for me, Instagram's like a photo book. And it's like, I have stuff archived that like, obviously for like, the business side of things and the engagement, the following purposes, I try to A&R it, if you will, like so it looks aesthetically appealing, but like I also want to keep what I have on there because like I feel like it gives a sense of who I am as a person.
Right, you're very upfront. There's no like because we all know people. Maybe we've done it where we kind of fake the funk a little bit as to who we are on Instagram. I love my favorite one are the guys standing next to the Lamborghinis that either A are rented or B they're just walking by a Lamborghini. Hey, take a picture, bro. Like
Right.
no, but with you really get a sense of this is who I am. It's very grounded. It's very realistic. It lives in reality.
Well, there's a certain level of respect to that, like one, I have self-respect for myself that I'm not going to fake the bullshit. And two, like I come from a small town. So like if I'm faking that bullshit,
so folks are going to know.
you think my friends that my group of friends aren't going to call me out like, hey, so where's that Lamborghini? Like let's say I did that. Like my brother will be the first to call me out on my bullshit. And I'm thankful for that because like you said, it keeps me grounded. It's like what you see kind of is what you get, but also there's more underneath the hood of the car,
Yeah. Ty, have you ever dealt with that, man? Like, I'm trying to think about some of our past experiences. Have you dealt with a guy who maybe got like a release and then they're like they're too cool for it, or they feel like maybe a little bigger than they ought to be?
If I have, I don't remember.
Yeah, I mean, I just no, but I think it keeps you humble and hungry, right? Like it's from a sports phrase, and you're only as good as your last game. In this case, you're only as good as your last release. So I find that you're keeping your foot on the gas pedal because of it, and I think as you said, you've gone through these experiences, so you kind of understand like what it could be if you kind of let off the gas a little bit.
Well, and also like I don't like sure I've had some achievements most would dream of, like that are trying to do this, but like I had a really good music mentor that has super accredited himself and decorated himself, but he taught me to view music and making music in such a different light and manner that like when I would have these achievements, he'd be like, "Great, go make another one. What's next?" And so like and also like I was just looking at I went to Icon Collective. Most people don't know that. A production school in Los Angeles. I did
Well,
that.
if they paid attention to the last podcast, they would know that.
They would know that. They would, but just for those that are just tuning in for the first time. I did go to Icon Collective, and I was actually looking at old videos on YouTube of like their Art of Flow class, and they actually said like something along the lines of like, if you're creating to capture this for this and this and this, you're gonna fail. It's gonna show in your music. And versus if you're just creating to create and you don't hold ties to that last creation and you just move forward kind of thing, then like that's essentially the area of creating you want to be in. And I feel like I'm there a lot more often these days than not. And so like with every release, like for example, let's take an example, the Dylan Francis remix. Super proud of that one. I fucking love that remix. Probably one of my favorite remixes tracks today. I don't keep on celebrating it for the whole year. What's next?
That's the sportsman. That's why clearly, if you look at my background, I'm obsessed with sports because
Me too.
I remember. We were
How
talking
about that Dodger game right now, huh?
Oh, dude, when I logged off, it was like 7-3, 7-4. Houston was beating them up a little bit. I know the cheating chants are fucking going off the chain.
Are we
right
talking
now.
about soccer?
We're talking about baseball, babe.
I know.
Spoiler alert, they tied it up, and I believe they were up a run.
Jeez, this is what happens when
before I logged in.
This is the part of the podcast I log out and I'll be back.
No, man,
BRB.
Yeah, no, dude, no, but that's what I love about sports, man, because it's like the greatest reality show. And again, like, okay, so for instance, let's say Dodgers pull this unbelievable comeback off. It's going to be all over Sports Center and Celebrate. They got another game tomorrow, right? And that's how it is in the studio. Like, man, I made this super cool lead and this MIDI, and that's great. You have another day in the studio tomorrow to start finishing off, and it's like a season. And I draw parallels between sports and music because I just feel like they coincide hand in hand in the way that you compete. It's not in front of a lot of people, but in the studio, the way you compete will actually show. It's
shit! They just scored a touchdown.
Fucking tie, dude. Yeah. So, anyways,
agreed. Also, along with that is, and this is how I view it. Just like sports, you're gonna have off days.
Oh, it's gonna be a lot of failures, a lot of L's. There's a lot of L's. Like,
and that's how I attribute. Not every day you enter or make music in the studio, not every song you make is going to be a winner.
Yeah, you hear about those artists that have like hundreds and hundreds of songs for a 12-song album.
I mean, dude, if I log into my SoundCloud, I think I have over 2,000, like, some are multiples, but like, this goes back to years, like before that predates before my official releases. Like, it's like if someone got a hold of that SoundCloud password, like, damn.
There's gonna be some, dude. I've done that where I'm like, man, fuck, is this on private? I hope this is on private. This could ruin my career if somebody heard it. I was going through. We were in Vegas. I remember because I heard a song that was similar in nature to what I had done a couple years prior to that, and I was super. Remember, I was super fucking pissed. So okay, so long story short, I'm out. I think we're at where are we at? Basscon. That's where we're at. And Ben Nicky plays this tune. And I'm sitting there and I'm standing next to our buddy Ambrose. And I'm like, wait, what the fuck is this? And he Shazams. He's like, oh, it's this song. And I'm like, are you kidding me? We get it back to the Amelia Hotel. Everyone's gassed. And I'm like, no. No one's going to sleep. Come over here. And I bring out my laptop, my SoundCloud. I'm like, see, I did something like this 2-3 years ago. I had this idea first. And I don't think I let it go for the whole weekend.
No.
But yeah,
No, you did not.
No, I know. I feel bad for these guys because then the next morning I was like, hey guys, remember that tune that I made that you guys basically heard at Basscon? Yeah, but I never released it. Fuck. So low key, it kind of ruined my weekend a little bit. But
well, look at it this way. If anything, you should just look at it as you got great taste.
Yeah, that's what I put on. And by the way, I've been streaming that song, so that artist I've made them probably $1.62 since I've left Vegas. So it was a good tune, but yeah, no, I the SoundCloud stuff is great because you put a lot of stuff on there and you kind of rediscover it, and so. But yeah, like you said, if anybody had my SoundCloud password, I am so fucked.
So fucked. Like all my stuff is on there, but like also I don't use SoundCloud too much. Like I like tell people about my Spotify profile because it's growing and
Ty
stuff
loves
like
SoundCloud. Ty will go. He loves that.
Really?
Like, he'll send me stuff in SoundCloud. I'm like, what the fuck is this?
I don't see. I'll send like ideas and stuff through SoundCloud, but like as far as like, hey, if someone wants to listen to my music, I direct them to my Spotify.
Well, I do too to Spotify, but I've been listening to SoundCloud since I can't even fucking remember when I was doing rap music.
Ty the rapper.
Let's not bring that up again.
Oh no, you dropped that nugget so you could fucking remind people who you are. There's a reason you have that stage name. All right, it's to be clear, it might come back. Let me ask you: have you ever thought about because you talked earlier, Roy, about like country, and there was like some country EDM, right? Ty, I'm being so straight faced with this. Have you ever thought about like dropping some bars on an EDM track of yours, like recording your own vocals and making your own tune?
I have, yes.
Yeah, what's holding you back?
Embarrassment. What else?
Man, no, it's good. It's good. You can do the vocals in your car. I learned that from Declane. Yeah, Roy. I don't know if you heard that. Declane does all the epic vocals, all done in his car because his fucking neighbors complain about the right how loud his music is. This guy recorded.
You gotta do what you gotta do, man.
And it was so dope. It was so dope, dude. It's so dope. But yeah, I just love how creative people can be, and like you said, how creative folks are right now, and how like creative stuff like that's outside the box is kind of getting pushed forward. Like James Kennedy played one of your tunes. I saw that. In front of, it was
the Danik remix.
Yeah. So the artists are finding this stuff a lot more regularly, which is great. Let me ask you something. What's next for you? Right. We've talked a ton about like what you've done the last, X amount of months since we spoke with you. Where are you going? Like, right. Like where's this train headed?
So Dylan Francis remix, tribute song for my father, Crash and Smile solo release, got the official Danik remix coming out. I may or may not have submitted into a Stant remix contest.
Oh, watch out, other submitters, because you're fucked if Royal Ryan's
just delete your project now.
Dude, you might as well just close the line. You ain't winning, dog.
It's pretty banging, dude. I'm not gonna lie. It's definitely up the Stamped alley. It's a really good submission. I feel really good about it. But we move forward. It's already submitted. And then I'm also sending stuff to Crash and Smile more regularly. So I'm trying to get another one on there. Finishing more collabs and trying to just diversify my sound and styles more. I also have my first sample pack coming out.
Wait, where?
Revealed.
Oh, good for you.
Because by the time this releases, I think it'll already be out. It comes out next Friday.
Time out. Is it like a paid set? Like how's what do you mean on?
I think it's a revealed radar sample pack, and it's just me.
Nice, man.
and
That's
it's
sick.
it's all diversified samples. I have kick sounds from projects I've released. I think I put in the Once Again remix kick in there for the Dylan Francis remix.
Ty, I'm getting an idea. Ty, let's get one of those Ollie James FLPs, and then we'll just switch out some of the stuff with Royal Ryan samples, and then we basically have an Ollie James Royal Ryan collab.
Exactly.
Right? I mean,
writing it down. Writing
we
it down.
can't lose. We can't
No,
lose.
that's a winning formula.
Well, just if you put the sample pack out, people are going to use your sounds. Just don't get butthurt over it, like some people we
Oh,
know.
well, you know what? Honestly, so here's the thing. It's all samples, just purely samples. There's no sound sets, no like preset banks or anything. But like it's a full on sample pack. Like I did it within a day, but like that whole day, fucking everything and anything. I think there's like chord progressions. I think there's literally something for everyone in there.
I want to use the fucking big sub snare, dude. That's what I want to use.
Here's the thing. It's not about the samples themselves. It's how you use it. And that's why, like, I've never had a problem with, like, sharing my stuff. Because I'm like, dude, the way you view this sample or this preset and how you use it versus how I view and use it, totally different.
Yeah. No, it's art. In reality, it's artwork, right? Because, like you said, what you view, like you said, and how I view and Ty views could be three different things. And that's what, dude, I love the digital age because you can manipulate these samples as such, and you can truly make them your own. And I think that's awesome. But dude, no, you're one busy guy. Like my biggest takeaway from this interview is I need to get my ass moving a little bit more. Like,
well,
dude, you move fast,
dude. I think I blame my ADHD on it. Like it's funny. I've always been this way since birth. Like my mom had me in like 4 hours. And if you know anything about labor, that is really fast.
Yeah, it's a longer process.
Like she went into labor and I was fucking out. I was fucking ready to come into this world, fucking guns a-blazing. But I think, I just have such drive and passion that like I'm excited a lot of the time. I'm sure as you can gather from the way I talk, the way I interact with people. It's one of those things for me that like it's just who I am. And like I wasn't always like this. Like if you go back to when I was in addiction, I was lazy a lot of those years. And like I'm even before that time, this version of me, I feel like doesn't even snuff the 18-year-old version of me. Cause like that was on steroids, like kind of not actually, but like, like the pace, the drive, the determination, the doing stuff, like I feel like I'm still trying to get back to that level of activity.
I like how you said your age too, because it doesn't matter what age you're at when you start making progression in your career. You could be 30, you could be 40, you could be Rob like he's 67.
Yeah, going on 68 next year. I'm really excited about
Hey, but you could break the record books. Like 67-year-old DJ starts his world tour.
Yeah, I've seen like these things where like guys like 75 making beats, and it's funny, but yeah, it's definitely inclusive. Let me ask you something. Are you doing this? Are you doing music right now for a living, like solo, or do you still have your day job?
Still have my day job.
Fuck me, man.
I work for my family's farm for food safety.
Yeah. Well, yeah. No, my wife goes.
I can do it better. My time is heavily dispersed, like amongst all my endeavors. I probably slack off a lot at work, more than, just to be real, like more than I should. Like if I was working for a normal company, I guarantee I'd be fired.
Well, listen, if the family business is affected, we know why. All right.
Yes.
Folks, hear this and everyone's going to be like, what's going on out there?
You know what? I will be honest about that and I will take accountability of that, but I've gotten better, like I'm a little bit of a slow learner. And I like to make things exciting, and food safety is not the most glamorous or exciting field per se. And so like I try to take pride in my work, especially since my dad passed. That's been something that has really kind of kicked me into gear a little bit more. And I'm definitely taking pride in my work to carry on that legacy.
Yeah, no, fuck, I lost my train of thought. I'm sorry. Fuck,
It's okay.
well, no, because I was going to ask you about your dad. And we kind of talked about it off air a little bit, and I know that like you've mentioned a couple times throughout the show, you've got a tribute with your dad coming up. Tell me a little bit about that, because I know we like this year, Father's Day. This is the 20th year my dad passed away, right? And I know that you lost your father last year as well, but I think I felt like, I remember we talked about this. It really has like inspired you quite a bit, because we say, hey, you got a lot coming out. You're working on a lot of different projects. It seems like this is the thing that's really spearheading it for you.
Yeah. He passed away the day my Dylan Francis remix came out. So that was the best and absolute worst day of my life. That day was like so emotional from head to toe, from start to finish, from exciting to like I'm on cloud 9 to my fucking whole world is turned upside down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I couldn't even imagine.
That morning, and so just to give like a little scope, like my dad, he didn't hate my music. He always said, I hate your music. I don't actually hate your music. And he hated it because he felt it held me back. And I know exactly what he meant by that, and as a person. And so like he didn't hate that he didn't feel it held me back. He hated the things that it put me through. Addiction, partying, all that stuff. And I'm so glad that he got to see me sober these last few years. And it was a rough day, dude. Like it was such a like I was really close to my dad. You know, looking back on it, like everyone says, "Oh, my dad's my best friend." My dad's like I didn't ever say that. But like looking back, my dad was actually my best friend. He was the guy that like I looked up to. He was my Superman, you know? We grew up on comics together. We grew up on superheroes. We did so many things together. So many laughs, and like, you know, he was the one person that like really understood me, and that day we never really talked about music. I don't talk about music like I'm talking with you guys. With my friends, family, I just don't. It's something that I do for me. And it's like, so that's why it's cool for me to come on these shows and talk about it, because I don't get to talk about it ever. It's a little more now, I think, these days with the things that are going on. But like that day that it came out, I've been telling him about it for some time. And so like, you know, we do our morning meetings at the farm. He walks out. He comes back in like 2 minutes later, sits back down, looks at me. He goes, "Hey, your release was today. How's it going?" And like, that was such a like big thing for me. Like looking back, like it was almost like he gave me permission to do this. Acceptance. It was like he was proud. And you know, then he's also when you start making money, then we started cracking the normal jokes and stuff, and it was like that was the last conversation I had with my dad. And you know, it was really tough to accept, because a whole lot happened that followed, to the point to where I felt like I didn't really get to grieve. But I made time to grieve and cope properly in a healthy manner, so it didn't affect me. And I've had friends in music that have lost their dads as well. And one of them like has told me recently how proud he is of me. he's all, when he was like, dude, when my dad passed, I didn't make music for almost 6 months. And he's all, you've pushed forward like it's nothing, even though it's not nothing.
Right, but I feel like you've used that to, like,
Fuel the fire.
Yeah, like, no, and that's just it, right? And it's been inspiring because, like you said, you can go kind of two ways. You can kind of get stuck in neutral or have like negative yardage, and which would be totally understandable when you lose something that close to you. But man, you've taken that and you've ran with that, man, and you've put that energy into your career, your training, obviously. And I think that, to me, man, is one of the most fascinating. That's why I like having you on the show, because I'm kind of seeing how you work, and it's inspiring. Like you said, a lot of people can kind of go in reverse, and you've used that, and not only have you used it, you're getting bigger and stronger, like you're gaining ground. So I find that to be one of the most interesting qualities when I speak with you.
Thank you, man. I really appreciate that. It really humbles me, like, hearing that, and you know, because, like, you don't know, like, when you share this stuff, it's very sensitive topics, not just for me, but like for others. It can trigger people, and
but it could also help people too.
It can also help people too. And you know what? Like, we have this saying in recovery that, like, if my story can help one person, then, like, share it all day, every day, you know? And so that's kind of why I share openly. I've always considered myself an open book, and it's sometimes it's kind of bit me in the ass, but, like, I also don't see it that way, because, like, if it bites me in the ass, then I didn't want those people around.
No, my wife's going to be stoked. And I say that because I told her, like, who I'm interviewing today. And she's like, oh, wait, the farmer? And yeah.
That's
yeah,
so
like,
good.
he's like, no, yeah, like your voice inflection, because it's nice. Like, she has to commute to work for quite a bit, so she'll listen to these episodes. She's like, yeah, I can listen to that guy talk all the time.
Oh,
And I
thank
did
you.
tell her, I'm gonna get some pro tips on my grass. I've been saying,
Yes.
yeah,
You
dude,
probably need more nitrogen.
dude, yeah. So I'm using 15 right now, fertilizer, and I'm fucking killing it. I
How are
mean,
you doing it? You doing dry or liquid?
oh, dry.
Dry.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay. So
I
you
did that.
probably have to irrigate it a little more.
Yeah. I dude, you'd be so, I'm gonna send you pictures. You'd be so proud. I've got some before and afters. I think I put on Instagram. I've got some pictures. I am growing grass now. Unfortunately, like, all the surplus of water in California that we've accumulated, I've used most of that probably. I've been watering like crazy because I live out here in like Temecula, and it's like dry.
Oh, it's dry as fuck there. It's hot as fuck too.
Not in my backyard. That shit.
Not in your backyard. You got a fucking water park going on over there.
When we drop this episode, I'm gonna do a before and after in like 4 weeks. I am so excited.
In fact, the artwork is gonna be your lawn. VOTU podcast.
Dude, I'm growing some shit. I can't believe it. But no, man, yeah, the farmer, and I remember the tips that I got from you about my orange tree last year. I have not forgotten that, nor has my wife. That thing is.
Did it work?
Well,
he didn't do it. From that face, he didn't do it.
Well, yeah, I decided to go another direction with that tree. I got tired of watering that thing and doing all the maintenance, so I got a new fence in. So I pulled the tree out, actually. But yeah, cool. Yeah, I got a new fence. It was in the way of the new. I got this nice vinyl new fence. I was in the way of that, so I'm like, you know what? Take it down, boys. I got to get a new fence in here.
Hey, cool.
But
cool.
I got good grass. When you come over, I got good
you
grass.
You made an executive decision. We called an audible last second.
I used all the water on that tree, Tyler, and I put it all into my. Ty knows.
And now it's going towards your lawn, which is looking beautiful. So, dude, that's a win-win for everyone.
Ty knows that I'm all about that. Dude, you know you're old as fuck when you, like, the highlight of your day. My wife's like, you're literally watching grass grow right now. And I'm like, yeah, honey. But do you see how green it is, sweetheart?
But do you see how fucking beautiful and lush it is?
I sent pictures to Ty. As long as I've known this guy, I've sent him like pictures of my lawn, and I got to get you another one.
Some naked. Wait, what?
Yeah, well, yeah,
Whoa.
I got when I first moved in here. We started because it was Discord. It was 2021. Yeah, it was Discord, and in 2021, like, some things were still locked down, especially like California, where we're still pretty strict. So, like, a night out for the boys for me was getting hammered on Discord.
Fuck
And then,
yeah. Hey, that's still fun, even though you can go out.
yeah, dude, no, it was great, man.
Even though I don't drink, like I'm like, dude, I'm so about like I was at a taco party earlier. We are watching the UFC fights, me and my teammates, and I brought them fucking an 8-pack of high noons. You know what I
Oh,
mean? Like,
Nooners, yeah.
yeah, you know what I mean? Like I have nothing against like people indulging in that shit. You know what I mean? I want people to enjoy themselves.
Sporadically is good. If you're doing it, yeah. So I had a tough night where I'm like, boys, I gotta water this lawn. They're like, Rob, it's 3 a.m. over there, and I'm like, no, I gotta water the lawn. I just reseeded, and I come.
That's how strict of a schedule I'm on.
And I think I was in my mind I was about to go take a shower instead, but then I somehow I ended up in the lawn area. And I said,
Hey, neighbor.
yeah, I sent these guys a pic. Thank God it wasn't 3 p.m. I sent these guys a picture from my Ring camera, and I was like, boys, I think we overdid it last night.
Oh my God.
I think we overdid it last night because I was in the lawn. I was taking a shower in the lawn.
Yeah. On that note, Roy, do you got anything else you want to hit us with?
You know what? I think this is leading into, because I could go on for hours.
Yeah, me
and
too, bro.
hours with you guys. Like this, I always have like the best time just talking with you guys. Like literally, it's awesome because it's like, you know, it's a true testament of like how the scene and community should be. Like I'm no better than anyone. You know what I mean? I just work my ass off, and that's it. That's the only reason I'm here right now. Is I've worked my ass off to get where I'm at. And everyone is not necessarily not working their ass off. They're just at a different stage of the journey. You know what I mean? Like this musical journey, like Tiesto has his run, David Guetta has his run, Hardwell even had his run. He's making a comeback now. And look at, you know what I mean? Like everyone gets their chance. And I feel like it comes to an end at some point. And it's a beautiful journey. You have to enjoy it. And if you're not where you want to be yet, keep working, keep enjoying the journey. You're going to get there. As long as you don't stop and don't give up, you will fucking get there. I think Gary Vee said it best. It's like, you know, he talks about like being 30 years old and you're just fucking getting started. You're young as fuck. Like if you look at from that perspective, at like you're 30 years old and you still have 50 years to go. Like, bro, if you were to start producing at 30 years old, like, and you got there at fucking 50 or 60, if that's really what you want to do, you'll get there, you know?
Yep. No, I use that model. I've used that model as an older, like you said, as a senior citizen in this community, which is basically what I am, right at this. But yeah, you definitely can get there. It's just hard work, and you cannot stop. I love the words, Roy. That is a great thing to hit us with.
Well, Roy, it's a pleasure having you back on here again.
Thank you guys so much. It's always a pleasure. It sounds like we're gonna have to do a part 3.
I was just gonna say, dude, I cannot wait for part 3. Because you have so much more coming up, like, right? Like usually when we talk to an artist, it's like, oh, something big happened, but you have like literally so much more on deck that.
Well, it's not just music. It's just like there's like I don't know. I've always like thought like the reason I needed to do music was not only did I have something to say, I was like, dude, like my life's pretty kick ass, like from an outsider's perspective. And I'm like, how do I like capture and like show that to the world? You know what I mean? Like it's very hard. It's very hard to, but you know, I think it's moments like these, opportunities like these, like where I get the chance to like talk about some of the things that are going on in my life, out not just with music, but like outside of music, it's perfect, you know. So thank you guys.
Like Rob said, we'll definitely do a part 3, man, because we definitely want you back on.
Fuck yeah. I'm more than happy to do it whenever you guys want.
All right, guys. Well, go follow him at Roy or Orion on Instagram. Go follow Robert at Robert Go on Instagram, and follow myself at Young Ty, and we'll see you on another episode.
Cheers, guys.